Hello everybody and welcome to Where Are They Now? My name is Eddie Mata and this is brought to you by Malibu Clothes. Get your suits right here at the Malibu Clothes building in Beverly Hills. Today's guest is a former wrestler, three-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion of the World. He is very inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, Diamond Dallas Page. Woo!
Bang!
So Dallas, before we get to what are you doing now, I want to turn back the clock just a little bit.
Sure.
And talk to me about what made you get involved in wrestling.
I was 31 at the time. Well, maybe I'll be a manager. And I came up with this Diamond Dallas Page, and the Diamond Exchange was my wrestlers, and I had the Diamond Dolls, a bevy of beauties, and it was in my head. And I put it on a videotape with some guys who wanted to be wrestlers, and I sent it to the AWA. And timing is everything, as you know, in everything. And Paul Heyman, back then he was Paulie Dangerously, had left the AWA and went to the NWA, and it left a huge hole for a young guy that could talk. And I got the gig.
Congratulations on that one.
It was like it was supposed to happen. I was 35 to go to WCW, Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling, and Dusty Rhodes brought me in. Without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. He gave me all my big breaks. I went down to the power plant. I started training myself to be a wrestler. And that's when it happened. I got my first shot on cable television on WCW. I was 35 and a half.
So you were considered a rookie at that time.
At 35 and a half. You can't fake gravity.
Right.
You beat the hell out of your body. Especially when you're first learning, you've got to learn how to take a bump flat. There's nothing natural about falling on your back. You want to reach back and clear the way. No, you got to lay flat. At 35 years old, Eddie, I felt every square inch of that mat.
Oof.
Really bad. I can't tell you how in the beginning how many times I hit that mat, roll over and go, do I really want to do this?
How do they make the person a superstar in wrestling?
Well, they normally get behind him and give him a big push, like Bill Goldberg would have gotten a big push. My path was, when I got in that ring, they beat the hell out of me because I was the manager turned wrestler. So I had to work 5 times harder than every single person in professional wrestling if I wanted to get any respect. And right as I started to get it, right at the end, I guess I'd re-signed my contract, and I had 3 months left on the next contract. I was almost 37, and I tore my rotator cuff.
Ouch.
And they fired me. And around that 8th, 9th month, my old lady's like, babe, you need to go back in the bar business. You need to get a real job again. And my attitude was, we're paying the bills, whether we're squeezing it together or not, but if you don't believe in what I'm doing, you need not to let that door hit you on the ass on the way out. Now, Jake Roberts, who was just living with me for the last year, he came into my life back then. We already knew each other, and Jake liked me. He knew I was injured. He called and asked about me. I started talking. Next thing I know, he was split up from his old lady at the time. He came and lived with me for 3 months, and he taught me so much about the business. The Diamond Cutter, what I created with the help of a couple of people, came out of nowhere, and I could do it to anyone at any time. And I came up with a sign that people could do so they could be a part of what was happening. And little by little, 10 people, 40 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people would throw their hands up when my music would come on. And boom, I had an electric entrance.
What made you get involved? A thing called yoga. Out of all the jobs out there, what made you get involved with that?
Necessity. I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life. I started wrestling at 35. My career took off at 40. By the time I was 42, I was on the top of the world. According to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, both 97 and 98, which was 41 and 42 for me, I was number 4 wrestler in the world. Steve Austin was number 1. I was number 4. I was wrestling over 270 days a year. Not traveling, wrestling, bumping in the ring, getting out of the ring, taking a shower, icing my body, and driving 100, 200, or 300 miles to the next town and doing it all over again. Then hopping in the car and driving again, or flying across country. Plus, over those years, I did Hollywood Squares. I was on the Tonight Show 7 different times. I helped train Carl Malone and Jay Leno. My career was insane. I was never home. I was running at a fever pitch in my 40s, and then boom, I blew my back out so badly. Actually, I ruptured my L4 and L5. And when you rupture your disc, it's like squishing a jelly donut. I had 3 different back specialists tell me my wrestling career was over. So I just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal. I try anything. And I was really reluctant to try yoga, but once I did, I was so happy because in 3 weeks, I started to get flexibility back. I started to get core strength back. At 42, they said my career's over. At 43 years young, I was a heavyweight champ of the world. I'm going to keep doing that.
Do you lift weights now, or you just stay with the yoga?
I don't do yoga. I do one thing, DDP Yoga.
DDP Yoga, yes. My bad on that one.
It ain't your mama's yoga, which is like...
So, tell me about the DDP Yoga.
What I did with DDP Yoga, because of dynamic resistance, no yoga does dynamic resistance. No yoga does the combination how I do, mixing the 3-second push-ups, 5-second push-ups, 10-second push-ups where you lower for 10, you hold 3 inches off the ground for 10, and then you push up 10, 9, 8. Now that's in the more advanced workouts. In the beginning, I'm just trying to get you to plank and get you to strengthening your core. With DDP Yoga and dynamic resistance, you get a kick-ass cardiovascular workout and dramatically increase your flexibility and strengthen your core like never before with minimal joint impact.
You helped this guy named Arthur Berman or Booman, something like that?
Arthur Borman.
Arthur Borman, a former vet. Right? What made you reach out to him?
Anybody who bought my program back then, this is my first YRG workout program, I would send them an email saying, you know, I'm not trying to sell you anything. You already bought the program. I want to thank you for that. And I really love to get some feedback if you had the time. And he was one of those guys that gave me an incredible amount of feedback. So I wrote him back. And I said, Arthur, it sounds like you got some things in front of you here, some walls in front of you. Tell me a little more about yourself so I can figure out where you're at. He opened up writing, Eddie, I've relegated to thinking of myself as a piece of furniture. I'm morbidly obese, and I'm a disabled veteran with the clip notes. So I said, send me some pictures so I can see what I'm looking at. And in that video, that if you go to ddpyoga.com, you can watch this video because pictures are worth 1,000 words, but video is priceless. He was 297, 5'6". He just prayed that he could lose 50 pounds so the doctors could rework on his knees because he's a disabled veteran, power trooper. Those guys drop 10 to 15 feet a second. They're wearing 50 to 200 pounds on their back when they hit the ground. I want you to think about that. They drop 10 to 15 feet a second wearing 50 to 200 pounds on their back. How can they not be all effed up? He had over 500 jumps. His goal was to lose that 50 pounds. In 2 weeks, he loses 20 pounds and 4 inches off his waist. Now, he was bloated. I got him eating real food again instead of that processed garbage because real food will heal you. In total, Arthur would lose 140 pounds in 10 months. He's never had the knee operations.
How do you overcome negativity? How do you not let bad thoughts get to your head?
Well, the first thing I'll say is negative breeds negative. Positive breeds positive. You are a product of your environment. It's why I brought Jake St. Roberts into my house. He just moved out, literally, this weekend, and he looks the best I've ever seen him. Scott Hall, I moved in here for 7 months, been sober and wants to be there. Scott and Jake did all the work. I just gave him a positive environment. But back to the positive attitude.
Go ahead.
I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and I've got a bottle of water in my hands. And as I'm passing this one alley, I hear water. And I don't know what made me look, but I looked over my shoulder. And there's this kid. He can't be over 30. Dark hair, dirty face, dirty, khaki pants, whatever he was wearing. But I do remember he had no arms from his elbows down. And he was filthy. He looked up at me and he just went, "Can I get some water?" And I walked over to him and I gave him a bottle, and I didn't even think to take the lid off. And he put the lid in his mouth and screwed his arms, spit it out, and goes, "Sorry, man." And I said, "Hey, don't worry about it." He took some water, he put it down, and he went like this to me to give it back. And I was like, "No, dude," I said, "You can have that water, man." I go, "That's yours." And I started to walk away. I go, "What the fuck am I doing?" I turned around, gave him whatever money I had in my pocket. He didn't ask for any money. My buddy Matty, who was walking past me, he went and gave me some money, some other guy, because I was thanking God that that's not me. That's not my brothers. That's not any of my friends. That's not any of my family members. Whenever I start to think about the negative gravity that pulls me down, I immediately get to that spot and start thinking about, okay, what are all the things I'm grateful for? And there's a lot.
The movie with Mickey Rourke, The Wrestler, did you really feel like, wow, this is a wrestler's life?
Well, that I think a lot of that story was not stolen, but pulled from Jake the Snake Roberts. A lot of that. And there was a lot of different... And the Randy the Ram would have been a little bit of DDP as well. The way I treat the fans, the way Randy the Ram treated the fans, what happened in his life, losing his relationship with his kids. I mean, I've seen that over and over again, but you don't have to be a professional wrestler to be in that spot.
If there was a biography about Diamond Dallas Page, who would you want? Which actor would you want to play Diamond Dallas Page? I'm talking about from your biography when you were playing high school basketball till now.
God, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even think about it. Let's have The Rock play me.
Yeah, right. It'd be perfect.
I'm very proud that the biggest action star in the world is one of us.
Yeah,
and we're
definitely.
very best at what we did. The Rock, got a lot of respect for him. That's one of the things I regret, not having the People's Champion versus People's Champion showdown. That would have been amazing. It would have been amazing.